mo. Campaign kitu ebi oye no woyare. Infutura ko ni mu. Ema saa ne twone saba. O say the funa asadwa. O must no. O say the funa asadwa. He is going for medical checkup. Or say or symposium and symposia yetia. Mutie Kennedy Japan or say 3 years the nwa. Kennedy Japan na acceptance speech no mutie the okan or say we are here. Anything can happen before 3 years. We dey here. Kennedy Japan na say no kan mama fan strike ke wo. Onim de oka. Kennedy so wasofo Kennedy onante. Also cast Asem no nkasa biem. Or say 3 years they say wa. Oh. Na sebi obibia to misisa. Etumia 442 531 532 223 or see 3 years the bibia betuma sisa Mahmoud Bawumia ende oko UK. Bawumia is going to see a doctor. Onya healthy man. He is not strong. He cannot even lead a whole political party. How much more a country? But the most important thing is obe start to start the symposium no. Obe start the symposium no. Obe chatro. They think they can rebrand Bawumia. They think they can lie to us. They think they can create something like, oh, mokai the old Bawumia, wakasa waha, na omudi abegu social media. Bawumia is speaking. Dabio, Ghana ni yechichere omra Ghana, yechene o Ghana. Symposium, tenor elections. You did not meet the media. Oko UK symposium. Are you okay?
Well, I mean, first of all, I've said it already, but perhaps it's worth repeating. That the new patriotic party deserves congratulations for being able to organize this primary without much difficulty. It turned out to be largely, successful, peaceful, and so on. To that extent, it deserves, congratulations. However, there are a few things that need clarification. Again, I've heard the Honorable Member of Parliament say that the party will rally around the leader, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and his vision. That's a bit problematic. Given the fact that they have told us that they have amended their party constitution and that presidential candidates would no longer be leaders of the party. What is the true constitutional position of the party?
Uncle, it's quite clear.
No, the constitution now, the amended one says the chairman of the party.
Yes, the leader of the party.
Is the leader of the party.
But that's the point I'm making.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
when the chairman of the constitution of the party says that the chairman is the leader,
yes,
and prominent members of the party say that no, is the flag bearer, there's a problem.
Right.
It needs to be resolved as quickly as possible.
True.
In order not to create conditions for power struggles at the helm of affairs. And there's a very legitimate issue to raise. Now, I must confess that I haven't had all of the data. And therefore, whatever I say is not the result of an in-depth analysis of what is happening. Because to be able to do that, the amount of data you need to have and to analyze is quite huge. But given what we know, I'm going to do some analysis. Now, we are told that all the other 4 contestants have actually put their weight behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We ought to be asking ourselves, what is the value of that declaration? Given the fact that all 4 contestants, at one point or the other, believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not the best leader of this country, or cannot be the best leader of this country. So what is the value of their commitment now? That's an important issue to raise. Okay. Now, one of them, my very good friend Kennedy Ohini Ejapon, actually in his concession speech, told his supporters that they shouldn't worry at all, and that there's 3 more years to go, and nobody can tell what is likely to happen or what could happen. What did that mean? Because I'm struggling to understand it. What did that mean? It can mean many, many things. One of the things which could happen and which you could be imagining to happen is that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will select him as a running mate. And therefore, his ticket and that of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would not be the same. Would be the same.
That's highly unlikely.
You're talking in the realm of possibilities.
No, I understand you.
You understand? That's one of the things that can happen. There are other things that can happen that I don't want to contemplate. I don't even want it to come out of my mouth.
I know that.
Okay?
Yes.
But there are so many other things that can happen which may even lead to his incapacitation and therefore his inability to lead the party. But is that the kind of calculation which is being made in the party? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just analyzing what people have said. I don't know. Now, again, if you look at the results of the election, and people want to play it down, Collins has tried to play it down and so on, his votes, as compared to the last primary, dropped. What does that mean? From 61% to 57%, there's a drop within the party.
56, actually.
56 plus.
Yes.
Okay. So what does that mean? Does that mean that a lot more people in the party, or some people in the party, are beginning to doubt his ability to win elections or to become president? Does that mean that? I don't know. But it's a legitimate question to ask. Then once he's won the primaries, it's almost automatic that between now and the elections, he has to select a partner, a running mate. How would that impact on his chances? There are many people who actually believe that his choice of a running mate for the last election was not the best. And they've said it. They keep saying it all the time. Is he going to make that mistake again? We don't know. This is an imponderable. We don't know. But it's a legitimate question to raise, Now, how is he going to contain those who contested him? He has said that he's willing to work with them. He has no grudges against them and so on. That's all very well said and beautiful. But is it possible that one of them will be his running mate? Is that possible? I don't know. Nobody knows. It's an imponderable. Okay? Then there are other questions that need to be answered. Other major questions that need to be answered. For me, all of these primaries, elections, and so on, should not be reduced to fanfare. They should be reducible to concrete programs for resolving the problems that confront the Ghanaian people and the realization of the aspirations of the Ghanaian people. I'm not hearing a lot of that. I'm not hearing a lot of that. In fact, some people say they are not hearing that at all. But election 2028 ought to be about what measures we can take to ensure that our natural endowments belong to the people of Ghana and are exploited for the benefit of the people of Ghana. We want to hear that. I'm not hearing anything like that. You understand? Now, election 2028 ought to be about expanding access to education and improving the quality of education. Election 2028 ought to be about how to resolve the housing problem and so on. So those are the substantive issues. Those are the issues which will ultimately decide who wins the elections. Okay? And I'm not hearing a lot of that. Maybe that will come later, but that ought to be, our focus, and indeed the focus of everybody else. Now, before this primary was organized, there was a lot of debate within the New Patriotic Party itself about top-down approach and down-up approach and so on. Okay? Now that this election has been done, what is it that the party can do in order to ensure that the party structures are owned by party members And that you don't lead to a situation where the party becomes the fan club of any individual, no matter how loved he is, that the party does not become anybody's fan club. Because these were the issues which were raised right from the beginning. How do you ensure that? Okay. Now, there appears to have been some unity or some expressions of a desire for unity after the elections and so on. But you see, based on the NPP constitution, very soon we are going to have polling station elections.
Yes.
Leading to constituency elections.
But they will do electoral ward coordinator or something like that before the polling stations. Yes.
Leading to regional elections and national elections. So there are going to be different contestants. Which means that there are going to be different pitches. How may this affect or not affect the unity which is being proclaimed today? It's an important question to ask. How may or may it not affect the unity which everybody is touting today? And indeed, how is the newly elected presidential candidate going to position himself in this context? Is he going to have preferred candidates? Is he going to be neutral? If he's going to have preferred candidates, what will be the consequences for him and the party? And if he's going to remain neutral, is he ready to work with any and everybody who is elected through the democratic process? These are important questions. Now, I've heard Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia himself say that the most critical issue going into the 2028 election is party unity. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all.
Really?
Yes. 2024 produced the third most disastrous election result for the New Patriotic Party, if it claims to be from the Dankwa-Busia tradition. The third most disastrous election result. I'm counting 1951 and so on. Okay. I want to believe that people voted largely because of the prevailing economic and social conditions. A lot of people voted because of the e-levy and so on. You know the
DDP and all of that, yeah.
DDP, the energy sector and so on. So many things. Okay. So if the last election was issue-based and the issues centered around the economic and social conditions of the Ghanaian people, I would expect that to some extent or to a very large extent, 2028 will be based on those same parameters. That if they are, then the NDC must leave office with worse conditions than the NPP left office with, in order to give the NPP a chance. So, for example, and if you take this as indicators, there are many indicators, but these are just a few indicators. The value of the cedi, where would it be in 2028? The energy sector, what will be its state in 2028, and so on. And I'm in sympathy with those who think that the NDC must do worse than the NPP did for the NPP to win the elections. Now, Moro, you asked a very important question, which is simply this. That do opposition parties win elections or do government parties lose elections? I think the two happen. All the two circumstances can be real. I've been on the campaign trail and I've been to places where people have said that, look, given the prevailing circumstances, even if you put a goat here, this candidate cannot win. That's an expression of the situation where people are not actually voting for a political party, but they are rejecting a political party or a certain individual. It does happen. Okay. Now, it is also true that in some elections, people have voted sometimes not even minding the issues, but focusing attention on their like or dislike of the candidate. And I've seen that in many. I mean, in 1992, we went out campaigning. And I encountered, please don't get me wrong, because it's likely to sound sexist. I'm only reporting what actually happened on the ground. I'm not sexist at all. But you went to places, and mainly women will tell you that Jerry Rawlings is so handsome, that they will vote for him. You understand? It plays in Ghana's politics. So the like and dislike of the candidate, either based on his personality, the way he talks, the way he carries himself, and so on, is also part of the electoral process.
Right.
And you've got to recognize that. Okay? Somehow, whether you take it or not, it's a fact that the current president has some charisma. Very serious charisma. The way he affects people when he meets them. I mean, there's something magnetic between him and people when he meets them. And you all know it if you will speak the truth. I mean, there's some aura around Mahama, a certain charismatic thing around Mahama, you know, which makes him so popular. The problem for the NDC is that no matter what happens, I'm convinced that Mahama will not be on the ticket. You know, no matter what happens, it will be strange if in 2028, President John Dramani Mahama is on the ticket. I think he will not be on the ticket. And if he's on the ticket, he'll be ill-advised to be on the ticket.
Right.
And so that's my very clear position. So who is it that the NDC is going to put forward who would have the residual charisma? And I'm very careful with my choice of words. The residual charisma of Mahama. We don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody can tell at this stage. Huh?
Okay, August, your time is almost up.
Oh, so I should stop. I have stopped.